online at dailydodge.com. It is time now for today's community comment. Here's your host, Craig Warmbold.
Well, thank you very much, and good afternoon. Welcome to Community Comment. I also want to introduce our assistant to the host on the program today.
Assistant, I've upgraded.
Well, you know, I mean, not quite co-host yet. We're still working on that. Okay. But host in absence, in my absence, you've been the host.
Assistant to the host.
That's right, assistant to the host. So you're working up toward assistant host, which is very exciting for you, I'm sure.
Yes, very.
Thomas Rayfeld. Thomas, thanks for joining us today. You actually set up this particular interview today, even though we've had these guests on the show in the past. You said, hey, this is a great idea for video.
I wanted to reach out. I was very interested by this. Robots has always been a very fascinating issue for many of us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Surely now more than ever.
You even selected the intro music of Mr. Roboto for the program today.
It pretty much chose itself.
It did. Yeah, that's... What else are you going to play? So we've got... we're very excited today. We've got some kids from the Beaver Dam Unified School District from the high school that are on the program. We're going to introduce them in just a minute. This is kind of like 3 in a row for us. Yesterday, you interviewed, you had the honor of filling in for
Ariana Weinberger.
Ariana Weinberger from Emily's Closet, and you talked about one of the fundraisers that they've got over there at the high school, so that must have been, I've known Ariana for years, and it's a great cause, so we appreciate you doing that. A good opportunity for us, by the way, to introduce Thomas Rayfeld, who's been hosting Community Comment a lot this year. You can go to the video tab under dailydodge.com. We are apparently video streaming this, if I'm not mistaken. We got a thumbs up from Kale, our producer. We appreciate that. So if you're like, hey, who's this Thomas Rayfeld guy, go to the video tab at dailydodge.com, and you'll be able to see Thomas and all the kids that are here today and the robot that we're going to be talking about.
Yes.
Tomorrow on the program, we're going to continue this this kind of threefer with kids from the Beaver Dam High School. We've got Milana Lundy that is going to be coming in, a young musician who's going to be performing for us live on video tomorrow as well. So do you want to be my assistant to the host on tomorrow's program as well? All right, well, let's see if we can.
Maybe assistant host at that point.
Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves, Thomas. We'll see how today's show goes. And so the first person we want to introduce on today's program is the coach of this group that we're talking about. What's the name of the group there, Thomas?
I believe it's the RoboHackers.
All right.
If I'm not mistaken.
We've got Brian Lerwick, the coach here. Brian, thanks for joining us today. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
So the RoboHackers, who are the RoboHackers?
The RoboHackers is a high school robotics team, part of the FIRST program. FIRST is for inspiration, recognition, and science and technology. It's a global robotics program that was started by Dean Kamen about the time that song was written. It's been around for quite a while. So this is one of the teams in the state of Wisconsin. Again, they're global, but there's 40-some teams within Wisconsin.
Wow, is that right? Wow. And you guys just wrapped up your season, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right. We had the state championship on Saturday down in Milwaukee at UWM.
Excellent. Very good. How'd it go?
It was not our best performance, but again, when we're going up against one of the top teams in the country, I actually set scoring records on Saturday.
You did?
Well, not us, but that team.
That team did. That's great.
Some good competition. So there's a lot of good teams in the state. Robot performed pretty well, but just not as well as we would have liked it to.
That'll a good learning experience for the kids.
Yeah.
Very good. Why don't we bring those kids on, Thomas? What do you say?
Absolutely.
So we've got here in the studio, why don't you join us here? I guess this is the set. This is our first standing up community comment ever that we've done. So why don't you guys, we've got Brandon Zaz, Elise Zaz, Lily Zahn. That gets us the Z's out of the way. Jocelyn Helmbrecht, Colton Dunn, and did I leave anybody out? I think no. Oh, I did leave one very important person out, and that is the robot. We have to introduce the robot. Who is the robot?
The robot's AlanBot 7.0.
AlanBot 7.0, and here is that. Can we have AlanBot come in? How does AlanBot work? I know we're going to have him do stuff later, but is there a remote control for him? All right. Is AlanBot in the screen, cameraman? Not yet. All right. And now, introducing, you want to do like some big build-up for this, Thomas? Now, introducing.
Introducing now, for the first time ever on dailydodge.com, AlanBot 7.0.
Wow, it worked.
Wow.
Hey. Hi, AlanBot. Thanks for joining us today. This is our first robot that we've ever had on the program, Thomas. So thank you guys very much for joining me on the program today. You guys had fun this season?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about AllenBot. Is this you've been on the program before when we weren't video streaming. We didn't have video streaming capabilities at that point, so we had to do a really good job describing it. And we'll still try to describe it for our radio listeners today. Thomas, you want to be in charge of describing the action of what's going on?
I don't really know where to begin.
Robot play-by-play?
Yeah.
All right, you'll be our color guy for robot play-by-play.
I can do that for you.
So you've had you've been on the program before, and you've brought a robot with you. This does not look like the same robot, though. Can you tell us how this robot came about? Elise?
Each year we get a different set of tasks that we have to accomplish, and then so each year we design and build and program a different robot. So this is this year's. It's meant to sweep up wiffle balls and such and place them into a raised container kind of thing.
Okay, and that would be this? The item. Can you describe that for our radio listeners, Thomas?
Like a clear plexiglass container of a kind of open face, Craig?
Okay, and that's on the top. So
right
and what
in the middle of the robot?
That's right in the middle. Good one, Thomas. Yeah. So you want to do what? You want to be able to pick up these objects and put it into the clear plexiglass?
Yeah, they get placed into there, and then that actually raises up and dumps them into this big center object in the competition field.
So this isn't like Robot Wars or something where you go out and try to smash up each other's robots. I'm sure that's what people think you're doing on it.
That'd be kind of expensive.
That would be expensive, because this guy is expensive. You put a few bucks into this. How much does one of these things cost from a budgeting standpoint?
It's hard to really put a solid number on it. Maybe $2,500. $2,000.
Is that right?
Just to build it from scratch.
Now, are you doing this out of a kit? Is it like Legos? Is it? Where do you get the parts for this thing?
But most of it comes from. Well, it's not really necessarily a kit, but several kits put together.
Okay.
Different types of preformed materials from different companies that supply robot teams.
Okay, so
and some of it's fabricated.
You'll go out and have them fabricate parts specifically for this.
I do see on the side here, Craig, it says John Deere and Lyco Manufacturing. Are those some of the companies that fabricate the parts for the robots?
Actually, this year, I think everything was fabricated in-house or at the high school. But those are our sponsors providing financial support for us. I guess I take that back. Lyco did do some printing before we got our 3D printer set up.
So you said they did the fabricating at the high school. So we've got this new renovation that's just wrapping up at the high school, and all of these new mechanical rooms and everything like that for continuing education. That was not continuing education, for their students' education. So that you were able to utilize those services?
Right. We meet in the room, one of the rooms off of the Fab Lab, and we have access to the equipment, saws, drills, brake to form up some of the parts. And so that we use those to make the parts that we've needed to fabricate. But
okay. So now Brandon Zaz, right?
Yeah.
You're holding the remote control there.
Yes.
Now, what is it that you
remote control?
2 remote controls, it seems like. But it's 2 in 1?
2 in 1?
It's a smart remote control? Tell us about it.
So this control, they are connected to this USB connection hub, and they all communicate to the phone, which communicates with the phone on the robot. And when you move the controls on the robot, on the controller, it sends a signal to the phone on the robot to move it.
How many controllers do you have?
We have 2.
Okay.
So we have the controller I'm holding that controls the wheels, and the one that raises the lift to dump the minerals into the container.
Okay.
And Colton has a controller that controls the arm that extends to sweep up the minerals, and it also the wheels also turn to pick them up. Then it can flip them up to put them into this bucket.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And so you're controlling the guy up front. How would you describe that to our radio listeners, Thomas?
The arm up front?
Brilliant. Very good. Very well worded.
Yeah, that seems to be enough.
Yeah, and it kind of extends out a couple feet, I would have to say.
So you're using cell phones to communicate with the robot then?
Yes.
You've got a cell phone on board here. Where's the cell phone over here?
Right in the corner.
Oh, I didn't see that over there. Okay. And is this the first time, or is it, back when you had just AllenBot 1.0, were you using smartphones back then?
So...
Well, that was before your time, I'm assuming. You were probably a little bit younger then. Well, we all were, technically.
Yeah, actually, the first robot that we built used Lego NXT platform, the Mindstorm platform, and used a wireless communication, Wi-Fi communication. They've replaced that with, this is actually the third generation of control system, using the switch from the Legos to the Mindstorm to the phones. But
now, how do you decide who gets to hold the remote control? How do you decide who gets to talk next amongst of you? Is it a dual kind of question?
Well, I know last year we had the two of us were driving the robot, and then we had another member, because the drive team's made up of two drivers and then like a drive coach that kind of tells them what to do. And our person that was our drive coach last year graduated, and I didn't really want to drive the robot this year, but I still wanted to be part of the drive team. So I became the new drive coach, and then she had experience driving the robot, and so did he, because he was the fill-in last year. So they both ended up driving the robot, but since she couldn't be at state, Colton took over for her, and so now Colton and Brandon are our drivers.
Excellent, very good. Drive the robot. That's something it sounds like Thomas would really love to do, is drive a robot. But so what is the strategy that you use to drive the robot?
Well, there's two. So for the challenge, you work with another team, and so when you're coming up with a strategy, you kind of want to look at what the other team can do versus what you can do. So if they can only pick up the gold blocks, then we would usually go for the balls, or vice versa.
Are there points assigned to each different types?
Each picking up the minerals and picking up either mineral is worth 5 points when you dump it into the lander.
Whether it's the wiffle ball or the waffle square?
Oh.
Yes. There's just different places for them.
Yeah, is that, I've seen wiffle balls before. Where do you get a waffle square like that? Is that standard issue? Just go to the corner store and get one of those? So are these the same type of minerals that you guys use in competition?
yes, the previous competition is the game challenge for, well, I guess ever since we started, is kind of, some of the parts are recycled. So the blocks were actually used in Block Party Challenge. It was probably 4 years ago.
Oh, that was the theme of what you would pick up?
Picked up blocks,
okay.
and again, picked them up and dumped them into a basket. The balls have kind of been a reoccurring theme. We actually used them last year, as they were red and blue last year. But, was it 2 years ago? I think we had Velocity Vortex. It had a lot of, we picked up large wiffle balls.
Velocity Vortex?
Actually,
what is this? What is
Cascade
that?
Effect. Cascade Effect. Velocity Vortex, we shot the
Velocity
balls.
Vortex, we shot the balls through the air.
Is it? Oh, that was part of the competition?
Yeah.
Was shooting the balls, but you don't have to do it this year?
No.
Okay.
This year, it's actually illegal to shoot them.
Okay, all right. And you would lose points if you were to do it. Wow, that sounds fun.
So how does this competition work then? Do you have 5 minutes to collect as many resources as possible?
Lily?
Yeah, Lily, we haven't heard from you yet, Lily.
So there's actually 3 stages of the competition, and first it begins with a 30-second autonomous period where there's no drivers, and the robot does whatever it's pre-programmed to do. And then after that, the drivers can pick up the controllers, and then they can control the robot to do certain things. So this time, you could go to, there's a little area with all the minerals in it. You could pick up as many minerals as possible and put them into the lander, or some of those things you could do. Right. Oh, this year the main thing was when you started the whole competition, you'd start hanging, and you had to lower yourself, and at the end, for extra points, you could pick yourself back up.
Wow. So there's a point where you don't even control it with the controller. You just have to pre-program it and compete against other pre-programmed robots.
Wow.
How did that round of the competition? Is that one of the trickier rounds because you're kind of going in blind?
Yeah, I think it is one of the trickier rounds.
Who does the programming? Do we have the programmer here with us today? So the two. So how do you prepare for that?
Well, we kind of just decide what we want to do, and then from there we got to try and figure out like how to do it. So we try. So this year, one of the tasks in the autonomous period was they had 2 balls and 1 block sitting out, and in each round they were in a random order. So you had to try and figure out where the block was and knock that one off. So we had to try and figure out how to use some type of sensor so that we could figure out where it was.
And you had to program it.
Yeah.
So you guys study programming at the high school too? Is that just something that you happen to? Is that something you do on the side for fun?
It's just on the side, pretty much for
Really?
fun. We both learned before our freshman year started. We learned during that summer, and because the RoboHackers previous program was just graduating, so we were the newbies and the only programmers.
Wow, is that right? You guys are the only holdovers from previous years, and you three are. No, wait, did I misunderstand him, Thomas?
I think maybe a little bit.
Okay, all right.
I'm a little confused myself.
Who's new to the team this year? Nobody. You guys are all returning veterans from previous years.
Yeah.
You guys are upperclassmen?
Yes.
Okay.
We're
you guys,
both juniors.
You guys are both juniors? You guys are lowerclassmen?
I'm actually a freshman.
Okay.
And then we're both sophomores.
You guys are both sophomores. So let me ask you this while you got the microphones. Why did you decide to join the RoboHackers?
Well, I know going into my freshman year of high school, I wanted to join some activity. And when I heard there was a robotics team, I was interested in joining. I thought it was really cool.
Okay. And has it been cool so far?
It's been pretty cool.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How about you, Brandon?
So I was actually involved in FLL, the Lego leagues before I joined this team. So when I got to my 8th grade year, I decided to join this team instead of continuing with the lower league.
Okay. That's like a feeder program for high school.
Yeah.
In robotics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You didn't do any of that, did you?
No,
in
I did
high
not.
school, Thomas? That's you kind of
never
regret
offered.
not being able to do it. I'm kind of sad that I never had the chance to put robots together and stuff like that. All right. So how about you then, Colton? Why did you decide to join the robotics team?
I was also part of FLL, which is the Lego League. In 4th grade, it was just an after-school club, and then in 5th grade, they made it into the first FLL team, and from there, it went on, and now we have several FLL teams, but I'm no longer part of them.
Are you having fun?
Yes.
What's your favorite part of robotics?
Probably building the robot.
Yeah. Not using the remote control to scoop things up?
No, I enjoy building it.
That would be your favorite part, I would think. Right?
How long does it take for you to work together as a team to build this robot?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's a good question. It kind of depends on how many people we have coming to our meetings and how quickly we can come up with the ideas. We went through a lot of prototyping this year, especially for the sweeper. Colton knows more about the prototyping than I do. So.
How does prototyping work? You have to build like a miniature version of this?
Well, this year for prototyping, we made 3 different cardboard versions of it.
Oh.
One was a very small mineral bucket that could only hold 2, but that ended up not working because it would either hold too many or too little.
Mm.
And the second one we had was a ramp that led up to the mineral bucket so that any extra minerals would be thrown out. But that did not work because it would either throw out too many or too little. And we finally decided on having a big mineral bucket with a small hopper attached to it.
Okay. And that's what we have. How many minerals do you have to pick up during a typical competition?
So you're only allowed to control 2 minerals at a time, but in the 2 minutes of driver control, we can usually get about 6 to 10 minerals into the lander.
Okay. All right. Very good. So let me ask you, Jocelyn and Elise. Jocelyn, we'll start with you. Why did you join the robotics team?
I was also on FLL, actually.
Mm-hmm.
My 8th grade year, I joined FLL because a friend mentioned to me that it might be cool, and I just thought it was really interesting.
All right. Elise?
I was also an FLL carryover.
So why did you join FLL?
Well,
That's a $1 million question, right?
Actually, I I ended up joining FL because I was at a Boy Scouts thing, and two of my friends were there actually, and they came up to me and they're just like, hey, you should join robotics, it's really cool. I'm like, okay. So I did. It was right after the competition season was done, I think my 6th grade year, and then that next year I ended up competing in my first competition. So.
Excellent, very good. And you guys are just winding down your season now, but you still have a few more engagements, you were telling me. We are streaming live on video at dailydodge.com, and you could check out what it is we're talking about here with AlanBot 7.0. We're going to talk a little bit about AlanBot and maybe the plans for next year. And we're also going to set up an obstacle course and have you guys pick some stuff up. Is that what we're, all right, so we'll do that in the next day. Do you want it, can Thomas try it? Can he try to, or do you have to be medically cleared or something to be able to do this? Or are there special releases that you have to put together or anything? No? So we're gonna see the kids pick stuff up. Maybe we'll see if Thomas can pick stuff up, but we do have to take a break first. Our guests here are with the Beaver Dam Unified School District RoboHackers group.
RoboHackers, yeah.
We got Brian Lerwick, the coach, Brandon Zaz, Elise Zaz, Lily Zahn, lots of Z's on the program today, Jocelyn Helmbrecht, Colton Dunn, and AlanBot 7.0 here in the studio with us, streaming live in video and audio at dailydodge.com. We'll be back here in just a few minutes.
105 from AM 1430 WBEV, streaming online at dailydodge.com. Time once again for more of today's community comment. Here's your host, Craig Warmbold and Thomas Rayfeld.
Yes, over here in the Daily Dodge video studios, streaming live in audio and video here at Community Comment today. We've got students from the RoboHackers at the Beaver Dam High School, Brandon Zaz, Elise Zaz, Lily Zahn, Jocelyn Helmbrecht, Colton Dunn, and their coach, Brian Lerwick. And Thomas Rayfeld, the assistant to the host today, they've given him the controls to AlanBot 7.0, and I don't know if they'll ever get him back again. But you just took right through this, didn't you, Thomas?
We got one.
So one of the minerals has been picked up, a wiffle ball in this case, and AlanBot is moving about, kind of herky-jerky like. I don't think it's supposed to move that much, Thomas. Well, so if we had to offer a critique, Elise, Jocelyn, of Thomas's remote control abilities right now on a scale of 1 to 10, where would you put him?
I give him a solid 6.
Oh, okay, all right, that's pretty good. You're a gamer, if I'm not mistaken, Thomas.
Oh, yeah. It pays off dividends, Craig.
It pays dividends to play ColecoVision, says Thomas. So now we're putting it. We've secured 2 wiffle balls, and we're going to put it into a case. It's the carrying case for AlanBot 7.0. Oh, there he crashed into the case. Oh, there you go again, crashing it again. So then you'll just build the station when Thomas breaks this. Is that how that'll generally work? Hey, wow, very good.
And then bring it back to A. Wow.
This is a very exciting play here today in the Daily Dodge. So is this what you guys do on snow days? You play with your robot, essentially? I must commend all of you for coming in today. None of you guys had school. You got the day off school, but you decided to do this anyway. Yeah. You guys really find that yourselves have a passion for this? Is this something that you might want to do after high school as well?
I don't know what I want to do after high school personally, but I really enjoy doing it. At the moment, it's really cool to see your program work and the robot moves because of something you wrote.
Now, Thomas, did you notice the control that Brandon has over AlanBot when he uses the remote? He doesn't seem to crash in.
He has a grace to it. Yes,
yeah, there's a grace.
I've noticed that, Craig.
That's a good word. I would use that word.
So, have any of you considered moving further with robotics then, outside of high school and maybe beyond?
Don't all answer at once, guys.
Maybe. Yeah. I don't really know what I want to do after high school yet, but right now it's just a fun thing to do, like after school and stuff. So we meet 9 hours a week to work on the robot.
9 hours a week. Coach, are there opportunities in college for clubs like this at schools, high school or colleges, that type of thing?
Yeah, there is a collegiate level it's not part of FIRST, but they use a robot a little bit bigger than this size, but they also couple it with a drone.
Okay.
So it's a combination in the two to work together. But at the college level, but also, there's many opportunities in the industry for the programming. I think one of the key things you learn is fabrication, design, CAD, Brandon modeled up the robot, so that's using professional software, Creo. So there's a lot of real-world opportunities to learn things you would use, not just even around the house.
What would you say? I'm sorry, Brian. Go ahead.
I was just say learning to tighten screws and how to put stuff together, take it apart.
What's one of the things that you guys have learned from this class that you didn't really know prior to? I called it a class. It's more of a club, right? Prior to the RoboHackers, what's one of the things that you learned that you didn't really know about prior to being able to participate in this experience?
One of the things I learned is that when connecting the battery, never connect it the wrong way.
Uh-oh.
That can be very bad.
You got a bit of a shock, it sounds like. Or did you drain the battery? Or did you drain your battery?
I came very close.
Came very close. So be very careful when it comes to playing with electricity. It sounds like a good takeaway there. How about Jocelyn?
Well, I didn't know anything about programming before we started this, and we learned how to program in Java on Android Studio, which I find really cool.
Okay. That's a time-consuming process?
Yeah, for
You're
sure.
Putting a lot of code in there, right?
Yeah.
Is that something you do, Thomas? Do you do a lot of?
Not at all. No, that's its own language, right?
Yes.
How's that? How is it easy to learn a language like that? Is it like learning Spanish or French, like going into a whole new linguistic language?
I wouldn't say it's quite as hard as that. Like, you still know the words. It's just you're limited to the words that you can use, and you got to figure out how to use them to do what you want to do.
Okay.
Like, you can't just type move forward. You have to actually type and like set the power for each motor to like a positive number.
Okay, all right. So what is it that Alan Bot and any of these bots are simulating? What is it that I guess all the different competitions? What is that thing that is that they're going for? Is this kind of like a lunar landing type of situation? What is it that is at the crux of this of these competitions?
Well, this year the challenge is named Rover Ruckus. So every year there's a video release that has the challenge, and in this one it's kind of like you're going to this planet and your robot is landing down onto the planet and it's picking up some samples to take back and test into the lander.
Okay, so it is an interplanetary situation. At the is it that way every year? Is that kind of is there kind of that
extraterrestrial feel to it?
Extraterrestrial, if you want to use that term.
Well, this is the first year that FIRST has an integrated theme through all 4 programs. The Junior FIRST Lego League for kindergarten through 3rd grade, theirs was related to space. Well, all of them were. First Lego League was Into Orbit was the name of it, and then there's the First Tech Challenge, which is we're part of. There's also First Robotics Competition, which is much bigger robots, 120 pounds and maybe 5 feet tall, but quite a bit bigger. Their theme is also space related. So this is really the first time that they've all been along the same line. But every year there's a new challenge. We mentioned a couple of them, the Block Party or Velocity Vortex. But the Lego League themes varied from usually something like Trash Track Challenge is one of them, over some of the others. Animal Allies,
There's a education one year about like problems in education, how you can fix them.
Learning how to educate, or different methods of education. So they try to relate it to a real world situation or problems.
So how do you replicate the idea of landing on a planet if this is already a stationary? Do you have to throw it onto the competition area? How do you simulate that landing on the moon portion to make sure that that's ready?
Well, the robots, for extra points, you can start your robot hanging on the lander. So in the middle of the competition field, it's the same thing that you dump the minerals into.
Okay.
You'll start hanging with the robots, and then once the round starts during your autonomous period, you can lower down.
All right, for our
So
radio
that-
listeners, the coach is now picking this up and holding it about a foot over the ground, and you're just going to drop it, or not quite?
We lower it down.
Very careful. So there's a mechanism on here that allows for the lowering of the unit onto what would be the other planet. Cue the lowering.
Yeah.
How much does this weigh?
This one's only around like 30 pounds.
Okay.
This year there was a weight limit of 42 pounds.
Oh.
Some teams did get very close to that. Ours tend to be on the lighter side because we have so much that is 3D printed.
Fascinating stuff here, Thomas. You just want to play with it.
Well,
again,
I'm
don't
really
you?
curious about the wheels because they're not like a typical car wheel. They're a very special type of cylinder, almost slanted.
Yeah,
Kind
they're
of like a
Mecanum
conveyor
wheels.
belt.
They're called Mecanum wheels, which means that they can go back. They can go forward and backwards, but then they can also go sideways.
Sideways. Now, have you had
Right.
wheels like this before in earlier versions of AllenBot?
Yes, we have.
Okay. All right.
Parallel parking would be so easy.
It would. Why doesn't Ford do this, right? So, AllenBot 7.0. Tell us a little bit about the name and the significance of the name AllenBot, if you would, Coach.
Well, AllenBot was really named after one of our mentors, Alan Holzer. The second year that the team has existed, he passed away just before our first competition. So we named the robot that year. So 1.0 we put his picture on the back of it. There for competition. So his parents continue to support the team every year, coming to a competition and kind of follow it. But they've also have the Alan Holzer Memorial Scholarship that's available to seniors in honor of Alan. So we've continued that tradition, although nobody probably even knows him that's left on the team. So this is our 8th season of existence. So
It's important to have mentorship like that for today's youth, and it's just so interesting and good to hear that you guys are carrying on that idea into future years. So we'll see AllenBot 8.0 next year then, perhaps?
perhaps.
All right.
Continue the tradition.
So how many different competitions do you have each year? Is it like a trip to state, or do you go to different contests throughout the course of the season?
Well, this year there were 5 qualifiers. That's the most that there's been in Wisconsin. It's kind of continuing to grow, and then at each of those qualifiers, they have opportunity to qualify for state.
All right.
The top 2 teams currently from Wisconsin at the state championship would advance to the world. One of the 2 world championships, one in Detroit and the other in Houston.
Okay.
So.
And you said you still have some engagements yet this year, which is why you're not going to be, destroying it, I assume, is what you do at the end of the season?
Yeah, the things we want to do during the off season, well, maybe work on improving the robot, just some concepts, but also promotion. Building interest in the team, sharing, just as we're doing right now with community groups, even sharing with the other groups like the Lego Leagues, showing them what the opportunities that are coming up.
What the next step is going to be in their evolution if they stick with FLL? Is that what it was?
First Lego League.
First Lego League. When the new season starts, or before the new season starts, will you dismantle this and take it down to the shell, or what is the plan there? How do you approach each new season?
We kind of scavenge for the parts we need. Otherwise, it stays mostly intact. Like if we need one of the rev hubs that are on it, then we'll take that part off. But otherwise, we mostly keep it until we need those parts.
Okay. Have you ever had just like a major malfunction? You have no idea what happened. AllenBot's not responding. Is that the type of thing that happens? It seems like it happens all too much, maybe.
We actually had one of our rounds at state. We started telly out. They started driving. They went to get a mineral, and all of a sudden it just stopped moving.
Oh.
And we had actually had that problem at our previous qualifier, so we knew what it was. It's like, since it is like all cords and phones and stuff, we ran into the issue of the cord came unplugged from the phone, and so it just quit responding.
It wound up being a simple situation in that case. Well, that I guess you got to prepare for that kind of stuff. And diagnoses is half of that too. Being able to figure out what the problem is on a moment's notice at some of these competitions, right? All right, very good. So Thomas, host in waiting here. Any questions for our young RoboHackers?
Are you all continuing next year then? We'll see your faces again?
All right, and
Excellent.
juniors, sophomores, freshmen among them. So have you got seniors on the group this year?
We have 2 seniors, or we have 2 seniors this year, I think.
Really? All right. So we've got 2 of the wiffle balls left. We can't just leave them there as we wind the show. All right, here we go. Let's see, now we got some action going on here. Now, so ooh.
What's a skill?
No, and with that, you've succeeded in winning all of our hearts, right, Thomas? The idea that you have to conform to with the theme each year. This year it was picking up the minerals and all that. Is that what guides the protruding? Is there a name for the thing that comes out there?
The scooper?
The scooper.
Extension arm.
The extension arm. I mean, that's pretty much what guides from year to year, is that theme as far as how you're going to approach the different things that AllenBot does each year.
Right. We need to start with an 18-inch cube, and as long as it fits in that cube, you can pretty much put, and the weight limit, you can put as much into it or on it that you would like.
Excellent. So what does it mean that you've got John Deere, you've got a few other folks here? And who else sponsors this, did you say?
So, John Deere, Lyco, MEC, Rumar, Photomogul, Kirsch, Alliant Energy.
Well,
so those are our main sponsors.
Well, why is it important to those companies to be involved with this program and with what the youth are doing today with robotics?
Everybody's looking for, most of those are manufacturers. That's kind of our theme, is to try to partner with manufacturing and STEM-related companies.
Mm-hmm.
They're all looking for talent that understands troubleshooting, problem solving, designing, building. Those are the kind of companies that we want to partner with. We need their support to help buy the parts we need to make the robot, but so that our way of giving back would be helping to prepare the team members for participation as could even be an assembler on the line, or even an engineering, manufacturing engineering or process engineering type role.
Gives them some exposure as far as letting the public know, letting kids know what type of manufacturing jobs are available, what types of careers are available beyond high school in the mechanical world. STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. With the RoboHackers, you hit on all different cylinders with STEM, don't you?
Yeah, we really cover all of it. Plus, there's another area that we really haven't talked too much about other than the sponsorship portion of it, and that's the running the business or the public relations. Outreach is a big part of it, and Lily can talk about that.
Yeah, Lily.
Yeah, I'm the head of the PR team.
Okay. Hey, good job getting here today.
Thank you. And so a lot of my job involves outreach events, which are events in the community that we participate in. And then the biggest part of the PR team, I think, is making the engineering notebook, which includes everything for all of our sponsors, all of our events, and all of how we built the robot.
Yeah, because your sponsors want to know how you've been doing with your season and everything like that, so you keep them abreast of everything that's going on?
Yeah, and the notebook is also judged at competitions.
Okay.
So that's part, the judges not only judge the robot, they also judge the team and how we work together and what we do throughout the season.
All right. So, you guys have ideas in mind already for next year, even though you don't know what the theme is yet? Or were there things that you experienced this year and you're like, well, we're going to do it maybe a little bit differently next year? I imagine this is a constant learning process.
I think a lot of it has to do with efficiency. We want to make it as efficient as possible. So when we notice what we could do better, or when we see other robots in competitions that do it better than we do, we want to do that next year.
How about on the drive side of things? Colton and Brandon, does playing video games help with this, actually? I mean, how do you guys prepare for being the driver of AllenBot?
Before one of our competitions, we actually met for a bit, and we practiced driving for about 2 hours, just practice and get good at it. In my opinion, yes, video games does.
Apparently, video games may help with that a little bit. And how about you, Brandon?
So, yeah, I just think a lot of practice helps you get more efficient, helps you get faster, helps you develop different strategies for what works best.
Excellent, very good. So here in the final moments, why don't we have each of you guys, we know that teenagers like to listen to AM 1430 WBEV religiously, I'm sure. Yes. So for those kids that are out there listening, or maybe watching the video, which is not just streaming live at dailydodge.com, but will also be podcast there, and you'll be able to catch back on the video at any time. For those kids that might be out there thinking about joining a robotics team, and why don't we start with you, Brandon? Why don't you tell them why they should do it, why they should consider something like the RoboHackers?
I just think it's a very good learning opportunity. You get to learn like different things, not just learning how to program or design, but you also learn how to work as a team and like get along with other people.
Excellent, very good. How about you there, sorry, Colton? Good one. You don't even have the clipboard in front of you. It's good.
I think it is also a very good learning opportunity, and also there are scholarships that you can get as well. So.
Excellent, very good. And now we'll go to, I got this, Lily.
Thank you. I think that robotics can be for everybody, because as part of the team, we split our team into 4 main sections, and whether you're interested in building robots, or you're interested in modeling them with CAD or programming them, or you're interested in the business side of things, you can do anything on the robotics team.
Wonderful. Jocelyn?
I think overall it really is just a fun process. Like, it's not just all work at meetings. We also have a lot of fun while we do things, and it makes you feel really good when you see your robot be successful because of something you did. Yeah.
Very rewarding. And Elise?
Well, I think it's a really good way to meet new people. Like, I know a lot of these people I did not know before joining robotics, and it also teaches you just a bunch of really good life skills. Wonderful.
Coach, you got a great group of kids here.
Thank you.
What is your message to those potential robotics, future robotics participants in the RoboHackers program? What have you got to say to them?
Well, I don't really have a whole lot more to add than what everybody else has touched on. Those practical skills, problem solving, troubleshooting, I mean, those are skills you can use throughout the rest of your life. You know, when you have a problem in your house, the toilet doesn't work, you can troubleshoot it. You're not afraid of tackling it because you've had some hands-on experience.
So wait, this robot fixes broken toilets too? That's amazing. We'll have to go in the other room to see that.
Oh.
Now, Thomas, you had a chance to drive the robot. Was it tricky? Did you feel like it was?
I could see how a couple hours you get very accustomed to it, but it seemed very natural, very fluid.
Well, we look forward. Will you guys come back again next year and bring AllenBot 8.0 or whatever robot you have next year? You might have to just start with a whole new from the ground up, depending on what the theme is, right?
It could look completely different based on the theme.
All right.
Yep.
So then now we can smash it? Is this, now that the program's over, is that how this...
No.
All right, very good. Well, I do want to thank all you guys for joining us on the program today. We had a lot of fun getting to play with Alan. Did you need to play with AllenBot?
Oh, I had lots of fun, Craig.
Was it good? All right,
I'm going to have to do some bingo now.
Oh,
calm down a
we
little
are
bit.
getting pretty close to bingo. So can you guys make an automatic bingo shooter for us? That might be something that we could probably use here on WBEV. Well, I want to thank you guys again for joining us and bringing Alan Bott with you, and we look forward to having a chance to talk with you guys next season. Good luck, all right?
Thank you very much.
Once again, Brandon Zaz, Elise Zaz, Lily Zahn, Jocelyn Helmbrecht, Colton Dunn, Coach Brian Lerwick, and of course Alan Bott 7.0. I also want to thank the assistant to the host, Thomas Rayfeld. I appreciate it,
Well,
Thomas.
thank you for gracing me with your presence.
You know, we can maybe by tomorrow we can maybe even elevate you to co-host, perhaps.
Oh, Craig.
I mean, you did such a
Don't
good job
tease me
today.
so.
I mean, you picked up all the minerals and everything like that. I mean, that's no small feat. I think you can make it to the next level now.
It's the kindest thing anyone's ever said to me.
And with that, that is going to do it for today's Community Comment.